pre-owned vehicles, top-notch, high-quality service.
Well, hello and welcome into the Capitol Center. We are back for our first broadcast of women's basketball here in almost a year. I'm Jimmy Bloomfield. Thanks for tuning in as always. And today is the season opener for the Crusaders, despite Heidelberg getting a start on us last week. Capitals games against Muskingum were called off, so this is actually game one for the Crusaders here in the year 2021. And it starts off with the team that they last beat all the way back on February 12th. Their last win here at the Capitol Center came against this Heidelberg team, a win of 82-45. And that was the second to last game of the regular season here in 2020. They then had a three-game road trip at the end of the year after losing to Baldwin-Wallace on Senior Day here at the Capitol Center on February 15th. So obviously everybody's a little bit antsy to get out there, especially our side of the matchup here, as Heidelberg has a few games under their belt. They faced off against John Carroll last weekend, and it went about as expected, as John Carroll won both of those games. This season, if you're unaware, it is a little bit different, obviously with the COVID protocols in place, but the schedules itself, no non-conference action. The first weekend was the last weekend, the 22nd, is when the season started for the other 8 teams not named Capitol and Muskingum. And it leads to a kind of unique schedule in which there's going to be home-and-home matchups on Friday and Saturday against the same teams. So tomorrow, Capitol will travel to Heidelberg and play there. The men's schedule is kind of flipped, and they'll play on home games on nights where the women is on the road and vice versa. So Capitol does have 4 home and home games scheduled in the month of January. However, obviously that's going to change now as they have only 2 games now, with Heidelberg tonight and then at Heidelberg tomorrow. They then play Wilmington in a home-and-home sequence, Baldwin-Wallace, Ohio Northern, and then Marietta. So some of you might be disappointed out there that they don't draw Otterbein in that big rivalry game. But that's the way the schedule breaks down, and maybe we'll get them in the tournament. As we move through the Byers Airport Subaru pregame show, we sat down and talked to head coach Dixie Jeffers about the matchup tonight. We will get you an update on the OAC and what the season looks like from a OAC tournament standpoint, as that has also changed. And then, of course, we'll get to today's matchup with Heidelberg, kind of break it down a little bit, get to our starting lineups and our keys to the game as well. So stay with us. We are live from the Capitol Center on the Byers Airport Subaru pregame show, and we'll be right back.
Presents The Good Guarantee. The Good Guarantee promises families who work for nonprofits or in public service will never have to pay more than 50% tuition based on their total amount of financial aid. This includes your talent, merit, and need-based aid. You can live on campus or at home, it's renewable for up to 8 semesters, and you can study any major and minor. Current students can apply too. You qualify if you or your spouse or your parent or guardian work for a nonprofit or public service organization and you are a full-time undergrad. Because we want to create purposeful people, courageous community, and hopeful humanity. The world needs more good. The world needs you. You invest in others, we invest in you. For more information, visit capital.edu/good-guarantee.
And welcome back to the Byers Airport Subaru pregame show. I'm Jimmy Bloomfield. The Heidelberg Student Princes in town, 0-2 in OAC play, 0-2 overall, obviously, to face off with the Crusaders making their season debut here in this one. I mentioned before the break, OAC has a little bit of a different format this year. Obviously, normally you play both teams twice, or play every game twice. You have 18 games. That is not the case this year. You only have 14 games to play. As well as missing some of those opponents, every team is actually going to qualify for the OAC postseason tournament. The difference now being that the 7, 10, and 8, 9 matchups are essentially playing games to get into the tournament, and the top 6 teams will automatically qualify for the quarterfinal round. Obviously, the top 4 teams host, and everything else is the same from there. But with such a small sample to the season, I think it's a good move to give everybody a chance, but still giving yourself advantage for the teams that do come out and play well. So, obviously, Heidelberg is in a hole at 0-2, trying to stay out of the bottom 4 so you don't have to play in that play-in game, while everybody else is shooting for, obviously, the top 4, so you can at least get a home game and do some less travel. Everything is subject to COVID, so who knows how many games we'll actually get in, and we'll kind of go from there. As we saw our first cancellation hit us directly, we have another cancellation this weekend as John Carroll and Mount Union's games have been canceled. Mount Union is shifting all kinds of things around in their schedule. I believe the men will still play their basketball game over there at Mount Union, but the women's basketball team is not playing their games this weekend. Marietta plays Baldwin Wallace tonight. Marietta is so far 1-1 on the season. They split with Otterbein earlier this last weekend, and one of those games was actually quite interesting. Otterbein blew out, and I mean blew out, Marietta by a final of 108-75. You don't see that kind of a score often. Marietta got the best of Otterbein 82-80 on Friday. In the Friday matchup, Baldwin Wallace defeated Mount Union 93-82 and then beat them at home 66-43. So the defending OAC champs start 2-0 this season. John Carroll, I mentioned, swept Heidelberg 80-45 and then 78-56. So they join Baldwin Wallace at 2-0. John Carroll is a team that Capital thankfully avoids this year in the home-and-home sequences. The last 2 games to bring to you from last weekend, Ohio Northern and Wilmington, who played 2 tight ones. Ohio Northern won on Saturday 53-52, and the road team on Friday also won, Wilmington 61, Ohio Northern 59. So we have 4 teams at 1-1, 2 teams at 2-0, 2 teams at 0-2, and 2 teams playing their first games tonight. Muskingum and Wilmington will play a home-and-home sequence. Ohio Northern plays Otterbein, and then Marietta and Baldwin Wallace. So 8 games to play over the next 2 games across the conference, and that'll shake up our OAC standings as always. So let's get to today's matchup. First, we're going to get to our interview with head coach Dixie Jeffers, as our SID here, Orion Gasser, sat down with Dixie, got her thoughts on the matchup, and we'll share our thoughts after that.
As we go along on the Byers Airport Subaru pregame show, Ryan Gasser sitting down with head coach Dixie Jeffers to talk about the first opponent of the season. Coach, it's been a long-awaited time that, you got an extra week, I guess you could say, to prepare, but not really. Talk about what the preparation has been like, considering you've been coming out of COVID protocol, getting everybody ready for game and for life. Just talk about that whole prep moment.
You're 14 days into quarantine, and then you come back to practice, and kids are gassed. I wrote a practice plan and put it away the first 20 minutes into the practice just because there was no way we could execute that from a cardiovascular standpoint. Tuesday was better. Wednesday, we started prepping for Heidelberg, and then yesterday was better, and today we're going to run on adrenaline. To say that we're prepared, we're going to go out and go muscle memory tonight and go on adrenaline.
So I know that you said that in our season preview that you would be toying with a lot of different lineup combinations. What's the one that you're going to start with tonight, and how do you see that maybe altering as play continues?
I call this my small ball lineup. It's one of my most experienced kids that I'm coming with. I think at this time that, and when you're starting out, you've got to rely on the kids that have played for you for 2, 3, 4 years. And we're just going to start out by that. We're playing a pretty good Heidelberg team that loves to press and put a lot of pressure on the ball, and they have some offensive weapons too.
Let's talk about Heidelberg for just a second. First and foremost, they have a new coach. So what have you seen in just one weekend of them playing that differs from previous year styles?
Well, their style is totally different. They're going to pick you up player to player on a missed shot. They're going to pick you up in a 2-2-1. They may fall back into a half court, and you think, oh, they're just going to play straight up player to player, and then boom, they're double teaming you and so forth. And they got a really good coach from a very, very good program. She had a great mentor, and she came from Christopher Newport. So the style looks similar to Christopher Newport, and it's obvious that she's committed to play and to recruit to the style.
Now, does that even make it more of a disadvantage for you? Not only are you going in on short time, there's no non-conference season to scout out, but you also only have 2 weeks of a brand new coach implementing her style. Who is more of a disadvantage, the Heidelberg team or yours?
I'll tell you what, COVID's put us all at a disadvantage, so I'm going to call it an even matchup here, because we could sit here and say, well, we've had 2.5 days to prep, and she could say, well, we never saw the film. You got to see film on us. So it's give and take on both sides, and I'm just happy that we're playing tonight. This is the right thing for the kids, and it's about getting the kids out here, and they've got new uniforms on tonight, and they've got new warm-ups on tonight, and they're feeling good. And from a mental health standpoint and a physical standpoint, this is why we're trying to do this, and this is why we're trying to keep up. And kudos to Capital and to the OAC for attempting this, because 60% other leagues in the country have not.
We're talking with head coach Dixie Jeffers. Coach, going back onto the Heidelberg preview, talk about some of the players that you need to keep an eye on and maybe what makes them worthy of having an extra eye on them.
Well, Brooke Beamer's back. Brooke Beamer is the scorer, 22 for them. She knows how to put the ball in the hole and so forth, and they're running a lot of flex to get some of the people more implemented into the play and so forth. And they have a newcomer, a freshman, that shows a lot of promise. It's actually the leading scorer for them, and she's averaging over 13 points. And so she's pretty tough. She knows how to score, and she can go long ball or take you off the bounce.
So, Coach, we're going to wrap this up. Number one, let's talk about keys to victory. What do you need to do in order to come away with the W today?
I'll tell you what, I think that my biggest fear is not playing in almost a year and being down for the last 17, 18 days, is that we need to take care of the basketball. I've given these guys a green light to shoot. If they've got a three-point shot, they can fire. That's the kind of style I want to start moving forward to play. And so I'm going to see tonight if they can do it. We'll see whose legs go first. And it's about who's going to be the most excited from minute 1 to minute 40 and who wants it worse in battles.
Last question, Coach. Obviously, we want to come away with the W, but more than anything, are there certain things that you want to see out of your team tonight that would maybe provide you some hope that, this is going in a positive direction out of the gate?
I think you want to see your kids play hard for 40 minutes, and I think you want to see them share the basketball and complement one another and be cohesive. And I think if you can ask that and really value the ball, we're asking a lot of these kids because they haven't had the proper time. Nobody has, not just us, nobody has, to prepare. And so there's always going to be bright spots, and there's always going to be a lot of things that we can fix, but as long as they're fixable, those are things that you can grow on and get better.
All right, this is the Coach's Corner with head coach Dixie Jeffers talking about tonight's game with Heidelberg. Keep it locked here on athletics.edu. We're going to shoot it back out to Jimmy Bloomfield for the rest of the Byers Airport Subaru pregame show.
And thanks, Ryan, back upstairs here at the Capitol Center. Again, thank you to Coach Jeffers for sitting down with us and giving her our thoughts on the broadcast and how we match up against this Heidelberg team. Capital, it's a new look for this team. You heard at the end of that interview, Coach Jeffers might be relying a little bit more on the long ball this season than we've seen in years past. And there's only one upperclassman on the roster, 5'10" or up, and that's Brooke Hommert. There's a couple of, a few taller players, 6-footers, some freshmen that we saw a little bit of last year who are now sophomores, and then a couple newcomers as well. And there's an interesting mix of size there, but very raw. Haven't gotten to play a lot of games, obviously, this season. Haven't played any. So working those physical big players into the rotation is going to be a little bit interesting. Coach Jeffers is starting small, and we'll kind of go from there. We'll have the starting lineups for you in just a second. Here's our national anthem is about to start. We'll come back and get those lineups across the air, but a lot of missing players from graduation, a big senior class that was really good for Capital. Reisner's gone. Cassidy Bosch is gone. You've got Sam Sex, who played 25 games last year, gone. You've got Ellie Watchman, who's gone. Reagan Stonerock, gone. And there's a lot of minutes on this team that are going to be picked up by some much younger and much smaller players. So it's kind of interesting to see that dynamic. We will have our starting lineup. After the national anthem, we'll step aside and come right back here from the Capitol Center. We are moments away from tip-off of the 2021 season.
Dill's Greenhouse is a local family business dedicated to offering the best shopping experience and honest prices for your gardening needs. If you're in need of annuals, perennials, vegetable plants, or any variety of gardening tools and resources, Dill's Greenhouse is more than happy to get you on the right path. Dill's Greenhouse is located at 5800 Rager Road in Groveport, Ohio, and is open 7 days a week. Visit them online for more information at dillsgreenhouse.net. Dill's Greenhouse. Only nature does it better. Army ROTC is one of the best leadership courses in the country and can be a part of your college curriculum. As a potential or current student at Capital University, learning to become a leader will make your college experience even richer and prepare you for the future. Capital Army ROTC can provide scholarships and many more benefits to those who enroll, but the biggest benefit will be experienced firsthand after joining. For more information on Capital Army ROTC, testimonials, and an in-depth look at what the program can offer you, go to www.capital.edu/ROTC.
And welcome back to the Capitol Center. That'll do it for our Byers Airport Subaru pregame show. Before we get to our lineups, what if I could tell you, take a college course that not only required textbooks, but courage, determination, and a good pair of boots. A course that would lead directly to a career as a leader, not an intern or assistant. Ready to become a student and a leader? Enroll in Capital University Army ROTC. You could get a full tuition scholarship and you'll graduate a leader and officer in the United States Army. To learn more about Army ROTC, call 614-236-6808 for more information. Once again, that's 614-236-6808. Or you can visit capital.edu/ROTC to learn more about the Capital University Army ROTC. Let's get to today's starting lineup first for Heidelberg. Again, coming in at 0-2, looking for their first win on the season. They start with freshman guard, 5'6", out of Vermilion, Ohio, Clara Smith. A senior guard, 5'6", out of Liberty Township, Ohio, Hannah Kilps. A 5'4", senior guard out of New Philadelphia, Ohio, Brooke Beamer. And in the front court, the 5'9", sophomore out of Shelby, Ohio, Bailey Walter. And the 5'10", senior out of Cincinnati, Sadie Cheney. So again, it's Smith, Kilps, Beamer, Walter, and Cheney, 3 seniors in that group. For the Crusaders, as we mentioned, it's a smaller lineup to start the season off, and we'll see what happens from there. 4 guards and a forward. We'll start down low. As we mentioned her earlier, the forward out of Wakeman, Ohio, junior, 5'10", Brooke Art. And she is joined by 5'7", junior guard out of Westerville, Ohio, Emma Burns. The 5'4", senior guard out of Northwood, Ohio, Allison Roach. 5'5", sophomore guard out of Prospect, Ohio, Erica Linder. And the 5'9", senior guard out of Harrison, Ohio, Caroline Taphorn. Taphorn and Roach, the lone seniors on the roster and the team captains for this season. Capital sporting some new unis in this one as well, the home white uniform. And some new warm-ups as well, as you can see over there on the socially distanced bench. Heidelberg will be in the black unis, moving from left to right to start things off. And in the center circle, it's going to be Brooke Amert against Bailey Walter. Capital's 2021 season about to tip off here at the Capitol Center. It's their first game since February 15th here in this building. looking for their first win since February 12th, which came against this Heidelberg team, if you missed our pregame. Heidelberg will start with the ball in the first possession here. Kilps will fire up a 3-ball, misses everything, and the rebound collected by Erica Linder. Linder, a sophomore who played in every game last season as a freshman, and she started 6 of them. It goes to Roach, who kicks out. Here's Burns for 3, and on the first possession, Capital hits from outside. 3-0, Capital out in front, and Emma Burns is the one you want shooting them. A career 38% three-point shooter, and that's her 90th career three-pointer. Kilps kicking out on the other side. Heidelberg swinging it to the top of the key, and now a pass down low. Walter has it on the low block. Fakes a shot, turnaround jumper over Amert. Good defense, but immediately going after the Capital lack of size down low. And you see a full court pressure here from Heidelberg, broken easily. Amert got a layup from Linder, and it's 5-2 Capital. 2 successful possessions early on for the Crusaders. Heidelberg has taken the air out of the ball a little bit on their possessions. Capital looking for their first available best shot and taking it. Heidelberg a little bit more methodical here. Kilps with a nice spinner off the backboard and in. And they'll set up their 2-2-1 pressure here, but it's just too slow to get set up. They fall back. Amert kicking back to Roach. Now Taphorn has it. Out to Burns. It's open for 3. Yes! Emma Burns with 2 threes. And now Capital has a 4-point lead, 8-4, 6 from Burns and 2 from Amert. Kilps has been busy already, drives baseline, and they swing it around. A 3-pointer from Beamer, no good. Brooke Beamer, normally a very good scorer, as you heard Coach Jeffers say in our pregame interview, but she is struggling this season mightily. A 19% field goal percentage, 5 for 26 from the field. And she has just 11 points in those 2 games. I take a little bit of these stats from Heidelberg with a grain of salt, as they did have 2 tough matchups with John Carroll to start their season after not playing basketball for a year. That's a really tough way to start your season. 3-ball from Linder, that's no good. And Walter gets the rebound for Heidelberg. Capital already will be going to the bench with Kaylee Cyphers coming in first. She's one of the 6-footers I alluded to earlier. Walter on the baseline. That's Cheney, excuse me. Gets Amert off of her. Now kicks out to Kilps. 10 on the shot clock. Heidelberg looking for something here. Screen up top from Cheney. Kilps drives, spins inside, has a very good look at the basket, but can't finish. Taphorn gets the rebound, and Capital catches a break on the miss there. You're going to see a lot of subs, I think, today, just given the fact that you don't have the conditioning there that's really been needed. So, especially with Heidelberg running a full court press, we'll likely see a lot of subs in this one, and they have 2 players over at the scorer's table who will come in with this foul called against Cheney. That's against Walter. It's Walter's first. Cyphers checks in for Amert, so Capital will stay small. On the other side, Kilps comes out as well as Bailey Walter. Kaylee Retos checks in for Heidelberg. Cyphers gets involved early, turnaround jump shot, no good. And a rebound the other way for Heidelberg. That's Beamer who grabs it. Beamer kicks out to Retos. And Retos shoots and knocks it down. Now Kaylee Retos is that freshman that's averaging 13 points per game for Heidelberg. You heard her alluded to by Coach Jeffers. And she shows off the long-range shot there. Linder kick out to Roach for 3, no good. And the rebound collected by Heidelberg. 8-7 is our score. Heidelberg hanging in there. At the top of the key now, swung around to the other freshman, Clara Smith, and Smith worked it down low, who got it to Kirsten Kochel, and then Kochel tried to feed it under the basket but was unable to do so. Cheney will check out now for Heidelberg, and checking in is 6'3" sophomore Alyssa Martin. Capital will counter by bringing in number 13 Demi Brewer. Brewer replaces Roach. Brewer played in 16 games last season for the Crusaders. And Heidelberg has 15 to work with, trailing by 1. Capitals led the whole way. Martin over to Kochel. Kochel fakes left, goes right. Retos being hounded right now. Looked like she might have walked, but instead gets a pass off. Now it's stripped. Brewer has it for Capital. 2-on-1 the other way. Brewer spins, passes over to Burns, and Burns cleans it. No, it misses. 8-7 remains the score. A very good sequence, but it doesn't end in points for Capital. Now on the outside, almost another travel. Heidelberg really sloppy early on, but still hanging around in this game, and they almost had a lead. Martin with the putback puts Heidelberg ahead for the first time, 9-8. And when they make those baskets, it allows them to set their defense up, and here you see Capital dribble into a trap. Thrown away by Linder towards Burns. Burns fakes the three and will pull out and slow down. 15 on the shot clock, plenty of time to work with for the Crusaders. Burns pass to Taphorn. Taphorn out Brewer. Brewer drives baseline, layup, no good, but she's fouled by Martin. Martin, a huge physical presence down there again at 6'3". She's a sophomore out of Akron, Ohio. Heidelberg will sub once again. Coming out is Clara Smith, and checking in is Taylor Reppart. Linder goes to the free throw line, again a sophomore. Had a pretty good freshman campaign at the free throw line. She shot 79% last season. She misses here. Averaged 3.9 points per game last season as a freshman. And the free throw here is good. Cyphers checks out for Amert. So Capitals back to their starting 5 with the exception of Brewer in there for Roach. And now Roach checks in for Brewer just as I say that. Another substitution. That looks like sophomore Maddie Reese. She checks in for Emma Burns. So, again, another small look here with essentially Brewer playing the 3. Linder comes out to guard Beamer. Actually, that's Reese, guarding Beamer. Pass inside Roach, just completely mismatched there against Retos, the freshman. And she's got 5 now for Heidelberg, who's up now 11-9. Capital breaks the press. 4:38 left to play in the first quarter. Taphorn trying to calm things down. The senior gives it off to Brewer. Brewer drives right, kicks out to Roach. Roach, top of the key now, Linder inside Amert. Amert working around Martin, no good on the layup. And the rebound is tapped out and picked up by Reppart. Reppart pushing it up the floor. Beamer down low, attacking this lack of height. Martin layup, no good. Put back, she's fouled. So Capital taking a little bit of time here to find their legs. It's an 11-9 game. Martin goes to the free throw line. Alyssa Martin at the free throw line in her career hasn't missed. She played in just 8 games last season, and that'll be her first miss as a collegiate athlete. Heidelberg still out in front. Taphorn and Linder have played every minute of this one. And Burns still leading the way for Capital with 6 points. Cyphers re-enters now for Amert. Taphorn gets her first break. So Capital does go a little bit bigger now, sliding Amert to the 4, with Cyphers coming in as a center, and Capital throws it away. That's a tough test to have just a few days of practice and immediately see full court pressure at all times. And it's going to be about taking care of the basketball tonight. Heidelberg leads by 3 after Martin split a pair in the last sequence. They have possession once again. Pass inside, Linder trying to front. Amert trying to help out. Kilps is open from outside. Her shot's good. Hannah Kilps, the senior, with the bucket. And Heidelberg leads 14-9. Roach kicks out. 3 ball from Cyphers. Oh, yeah. The 6-footer, 6'2" to be exact, out of Cedarville, knocks that one down. And that's the 3rd triple for Capital already. Much different style of play than we're used to seeing. But a team that's down by 5 that has shown the ability to shoot from outside. It appears we're going to be okay in terms of hanging around in ball games and even putting a couple of outside shots together to get a run going. Kilps, this is a nicely drawn up play as it goes out to Retos. Retos can't get the shot off over Reese. It hits off the front of the iron. And Reese will slow things down. 3 minutes to play in the first quarter. A high-scoring first quarter, 14-12 so far. Roach on the right wing. Drives left into traffic. Martin swats it away. Kilps picks it up. 3-on-2 the other way. Kilps right down the middle. Gives it to Martin. Martin's shot is no good. And the rebound collected by Brewer. Brewer works around some traffic. Now kicks it up. Roach wide open look at the basket, but she's fouled from behind. And Roach will head to the free throw line now. Kochel is called for the foul. Beamer checks back in, as well as Bailey Walter and Sadie Cheney. The starting 5 for Heidelberg is out there, with the exception of Reppert in there for Clara Smith. For Capital, Emma Burns is back in. Amert, Linder, and trying to sort this out as there's only 4 players on the floor right now for Capital. And checking back in now is Kaylee Cyphers. Now there's 5 on the floor, and we're good. Taphorn is by the scorer's table, so a little bit confusing here. Believe Taphorn is coming in for the shooter. Roach's first is good. So Burns checks back in for Brewer, really the only change there, and Roach's free throw is good. She knocks down both, and we'll head to get a breather as Taphorn comes right back in. 14 all here at the Capital Center. A 5-0 run for Capital to tie this game back up. Taphorn applying some full court pressure by herself. Kilps draws some contact, and a foul's called against Taphorn. That's Taphorn's first and the team's 3rd foul. Each team with 3 fouls here in the last 2:30. Again, 5 fouls is the bonus. That rule changed a few years back once we went into quarters. Beamer has it. Driving left, elbow, kicks out to Kilps. Kilps gets Taphorn to swipe at it, but no success there from Caroline. Now on the right corner, Burns with good defense. Might have blocked that shot. If not, it was just a badly taken one from Reppert. And Capital can take a lead back in this game now. This possession, here's Burns. He leads the way for Capital with 6 and make it 8. And Emma Burns puts Capital back in front, 16-14, a 7-0 run for the Crusaders. As we close out quarter number 1, 1:50 to play in the first quarter. Beamer on right wing. A slow developing offensive play. Beamer will just take the shot instead, no good. Offensive rebound and a fresh shot clock. Kilps kicking it to left elbow. Cheney, handoff to Beamer, who flies around a screen. No good on the layup. Now Beamer gets her own miss. Kick back out to Kilps, another fresh 20. And Kilps looks back to their coach for assistance. That's Rachel Ferry. She's in her first season as the head coach here at Heidelberg. And installing some new systems and that full court pressure. It's a little bit of a different look for Capital. That shot does get off in time and barely nicks the rim to avoid the shot clock violation. Now Burns with a little fancy behind the back dribble. Kicks out to Cyphers for 3. Yes, Kaylee Cyphers from long range. And she's got 6 off the bench. Make it 9 off the bench, excuse me. Pass inside from Beamer, now thrown away by Amert. Getting the miss there from Beamer's pass, and Amert starts the rush the other way to Burns. Burns gets it across the timeline. Capital starting to run away with it a little bit on a 10-0 run. Kick out to Linder. 5-second difference between shot and game clock, so just looking for their best shot here. Amert with the up and under, no good. Shot clock will turn off with 14 seconds left to play. Here's Beamer. Beamer driving to Kilps now. Off the left side, Kilps gets it to go. 8 seconds. Capital's got to move here. 5 seconds now. Taphorn with 3. with 2 across the timeline. Lets it go! No good off the back iron. In a high-scoring quarter in which we see Capital knock down 5 3-pointers, 3 from Cyphers and 2 from Burns, and it is Capital out in front, 19-16. We'll be right back with more action here from the Capital Center right after this.
This is a message for all those MBA seekers out there. For the junior exec who'd rather be senior. For the VP yearning to be CEO. And for everyone who'd call their job not just a profession, but a passion. Capital University's MBA program was built exclusively for professionals, experienced faculty, flexible schedules, and classmates you'll soon consider colleagues. Learn more at capital.edu/MBA. The Capital University MBA, for those driven to do more.
And welcome back to the Capital Center. Capital leading 19-16. I mentioned Cyphers before the break there had 9 off the bench. He actually has 6. We had the stats had a 3-pointer for Retos in her name, with the both numbers being 24 there. So it is 6 off the bench for Cyphers. Burns leading the way with 8, and the 2 of them have combined to go 4 for 4 from 3. Leading the way on the other side, Hannah Kilps has 6 points for Heidelberg, and Retos off the bench has that 3-pointer. Melissa Martin also with 3 points. So it's 19-16. Capital will start with it as they have the possession arrow, and we resume play. Gabby Ledbetter with her first action of the night. She's on the floor with Amert, Taphorn, Burns, Linder. Capital doesn't get a shot up this sequence, but Kilps throws it away on the other side, and we are right back to where we started, 17 seconds in. Capital working against the full court pressure, and a traveling violation is called. So a sloppy start to the quarter here. 2 turnovers, and actually 3 turnovers to this point in the first 30 seconds. And Heidelberg will slow things down and go to work down low. That's Cheney. And Cheney gets the basket for Heidelberg to stop the bleeding. A 10-0 run for Capital. Snapped with that right there. And Capital turns it over again. So after turning it over just twice in the first quarter, they've already turned it over 3 times in their first 3 possessions of the second quarter. And that's going to lead to a timeout, but it's called by Heidelberg, actually. A 30-second timeout, so we'll stay here. How about an update around the OAC, if we will? Again, 1 game has been canceled. That's John Carroll and Mount Union, so we won't have an update there. However, we do have a couple of updates here. Muskingum and Wilmington in a shootout. Wilmington leading Muskingum, who's playing their first game of the season as well, 25-20 in the first quarter with 50 seconds left. And with 9:06 left in the second quarter, Marietta and Baldwin Wallace in a much different style of game. It's 12-7 there. Marietta with an early lead, which is quite interesting. And Otterbein is playing host to Ohio Northern, and with 6 minutes left in the second quarter, it's 21-20. Ohio Northern with the lead there. So that's our OAC update. We'll have full update of the scores as part of the Capital University ROTC halftime show. Linder for 3 out of the timeout. No good. It was straight on, but missed short, and Amert cleans it up off the glass. Brooke Amert with her second basket. And she now has 2 rebounds as well. Clara Smith back out there running points for Heidelberg as they have their starting 5 on the floor. Beamer has struggled in this one as well. Brooke is just 1 for 4 shooting. Came into this one shooting 19% from the field. She's typically a 37% career shooter anyway, which isn't very high, obviously. A miss here from Cheney. The putback, Ledbetter fouls. I believe that's Walter headed to the line. Bailey Walter this season from the free throw line. is 5 for 9 at 55%. In her career, 32 for 45, 71%. The foul there goes against Ledbetter, by the way. Walter's first free throw is good. 21-19. Heidelberg hanging in there with Capital. They had a rough start to their season, having to face John Carroll, a team that Capital actually avoids in this whole sequence, which is actually a pretty good draw. They don't play, the teams they don't play, now Muskingum after the cancellation, Mount Union, John Carroll, and Otterbein. John Carroll started 2-0 and is usually a contender. Otterbein 1-1, and they had a game where they scored 100 points, so seemed to be pretty good, at least offensively. And Mount Union is typically a pretty tough matchup as well. So Capital gets a pretty good break with the schedule. Obviously 7 home games and 7 on the road. Foul called away from the basketball here. That is on number 24, Callie Retos. And Capital steals a timeout here as Taphorn rallies the troops together. Cyphers check back in for Ledbetter, by the way, for the Crusaders. And she had a very strong showing in the first quarter. Burns and Cyphers have been the combination today. They work a little pick and roll, and it turns into a trap the other way. Linder trying to swing it to Taphorn. Beamer gets the steal. Beamer going to almost travel and carry. I don't know what that was, but Beamer keeps possession. Calling for it is Retos. Retos got it late and will kick back to Clara Smith. Smith pulls back, 13 on the shot clock. Beamer on the left wing. She got the steal to start the sequence. Now drives, baseline, kick out. Couple of extra passes. Now Smith gets a good look, and Smith can't knock it down. Not sure how she freed herself from Burns there, but she got a really good look at the basket, but was unable to knock it down. The pace has slowed down, at least from an offensive scoring standpoint. It's now 21-20. It's been 6 points scored in the first 3 minutes here with a lot of turnovers. Capitals had 4 turnovers in this quarter. Heidelberg has had 2. Pass into the painted area for Brooke Amert, who knocks it down right on the OAC logo. And Amert with 5 for Capital. Capital shooting now 50% from the floor. Heidelberg at 37%, and that's the big difference in the scoring right now, as they've taken about the same amount of shots, but Capital has knocked down a few extra. Melissa Martin checks back in for Heidelberg. Brewer checks back in for Capital, as does Roach. Emma Burns will run point. Taphorn and Linder come off. Amert giving Burns a screen. And now frees herself at the top of the key, right wing to Allison Roach. Roach now to Brewer. Inside, Martin punches it away, and Cyphers has to dive on it. Possession arrow favors Heidelberg, so it'll go in the books as another turnover. Capitals knocked down 4 3-pointers, also Heidelberg with just 1. Both teams 3 for 4 at the free throw line to this point. On the right elbow, this is Kochel with it. Kochel goes to Martin post to post. No good. Brewer with the collection of the miss. Brewer looking up to Roach, pushing the pace, and Roach with a nice move to get by Smith and gets the layup to go. Allison Roach with her first basket of the season. 4 points for her now. She made 2 free throws earlier on. A 3-ball here from Retos, no good. And Brewer with yet another rebound for the Crusaders. That's back-to-back possessions with Brewer rebounds. She actually has the most on the team today with 3. Brewer to the top of the key. Cyphers for 3 again, no good. Heat check, and that one missed left. Beamer to the free throw line. throws the brakes on, no good. Offensive putback, also no good. Red House tries again, she's fouled. And really good effort there from actually Kochel on the offensive glass, and Kochel will head to the free throw line. Kirsten Kochel, a senior, coming off the bench for this Heidelberg team. As they go back to most of their starters, Walter checks in, Kilps checks in, and Taylor Reppert also back in. Capital will be matching by bringing in a freshman, Katie Burke. First free throw is good. And Burke not being substituted in. I guess they're going to let her go for both free throws here. Kochel makes it. And now Burke checks in for Cyphers. Katie Burke, a freshman out of Lancaster, Ohio. And she is wearing number 35 here at home. She'll wear number 33 on the road, which is kind of an interesting twist on things. Turnover here as that goes off of Capital. Allison Roach in the corner trying to get that pass from Burke. 25-22 our score. Capital still holding the lead, but neither team has looked particularly good here in the second quarter. Some of the rust certainly showing here, as these teams would typically be in mid-season form on January 29th. Reppert over to Kilps with 10 to shoot. Kilps gets a screen, kicks out to Beamer. Beamer not afraid to let one go, and she gets this one to fall. 25-24, Brooke Beamer with the basket. And she's now up to 4 points, just 2 of 6 shooting. Roach, kick out, Burke for 3. No good from the freshman. Brewer fights for the loose ball, and she's fouled. Demi Brewer going 1 against 3 there to keep possession for the Crusaders. On the offensive glass, the foul is called against Kirsten Kochel, who will check out now for the starter, Sadie Cheney. 25-24, 4:34 to play. Reminder, coming up, we will have the Capital University ROTC halftime show where we will go through the first half statistics at length, name our halftime hero, and check out some action across the OAC. Roach, charge called against Allison Roach. Sadie Cheney holding her ground there for the Berg. And another turnover for Capital in this quarter. That is now their 6th, I believe. Make it 7 turnovers for Capital here in the second quarter. Maddie Duguid checks in now. She is a 6-footer off the bench. Cyphers has been good in that role. Let's see if Duguid can, and she ties up Cheney and gets possession for Capital. That's the 4th turnover for Heidelberg in this quarter. So 11 turnovers between these two teams in the second quarter. In the first quarter, there were 3 turnovers total. Here's another turnover. Beamer trying to convert on the other side. She can't. Cheney's put back. No good. Cheney gets the offensive rebound again. Goes back up with it and is fouled by Duguid. Capital now with 9 turnovers in this quarter. And the more shocking number is that only 6 points off of those turnovers for Heidelberg. It could be a lot worse here. Cheney misses the first. Chance to tie the game with the second. And no good. She cannot make Capital pay for that mistake. Both teams have had 28 possessions to this point, and it's 25-24 Capital. And Burns is fouled hard. Is that going to be against Cheney or Beamer? Looks like they're going to get Cheney. That's her first, the 3rd team foul for Heidelberg. Capital does not have a foul to give, as Heidelberg will go to the bonus with the next foul from the Crusaders. Roach at the top of the key now to Burke. Burke over to Brewer, trying to feed Duguid down low. Duguid to Roach, who is able to keep it in play. Now Brewer cuts inside, left it short, and Cheney clears out for the miss. And a travel called in the backcourt against Heidelberg. Bailey Walter travels. That's interesting there. Capital wasn't even defending in the backcourt, and they were able to get a free turnover, basically. Linder and Taphorn check in, as well as Amert. Burns and Brewer will stay out there. So the starting five for Capital with Brewer out there in the place of Roach. We've seen these five together as well. Brewer, nice pass to Burns to start things off here. Burns has been quiet here in the second. Forces a three up, no good. Linder on the offensive putback, couldn't get it either, but Capital will keep possession with a team offensive rebound. Brewer to insert from under the basket, now to Linder. Linder on the right wing to Taphorn. Taphorn handoff to Brewer, drives into some traffic. Pro hopple around, and Brewer with a tough basket there. 27-24, Capital back up by 3. Cheney has it on the right wing. On the low block, Taphorn is guarding her. A little bit of a mismatch size-wise. Heidelberg not going there. Instead, they go to Walter. Walter traveled. Back-to-back traveling violations called against Walter. That's the 8th Heidelberg turnover to Capital's 9. Clara Smith re-enters for Heidelberg. 27-24, 2:37 to play. Burns has it for the Crusaders. Over to Taphorn, who walks into a three. No good. Off the front iron. Linder with the offensive rebound. Burns trying to feed Linder, but Linder was running to clear out under the basket, wasn't looking for the ball. Burns instead drives. And no good. Amert gets the offensive rebound again for Capital, and they'll reset. Linder now with 2:10 to play in the quarter. 27-24. Alex Carter making her way to come in for Heidelberg. Linder still with it and gets contact from Cheney, who was just kind of standing there in the open. And Kocha will have to come back in as well now for Heidelberg. So Cheney and Walter out, and Alex Carter out of Spencerville checks in with Kochel. Linder goes back to the free throw line with a chance to give Capital a 2-possession lead again. This has been a strange quarter. After a first quarter in which we saw 35 combined points, we've seen just 17. Heidelberg is shooting 2 for 9 in this frame, as Linder makes both free throws. Capital shooting just 4 for 12. So Heidelberg has 8 points and 6 turnovers. Capital has now 10 points and 11 turnovers. I'm sorry, 10 points and 9 turnovers. Carter open underneath, and Duguid able to affect the shot. A jump ball will keep possession here with the arrow. Amert has been a beast on the boards, and she needs to be playing as a 5, essentially. She's still listed on my roster here in front of me as a guard. Obviously playing kind of more of a center role, and positions in basketball lately have kind of gone away. It's really just post player or outside, and you're seeing everybody shoot threes now. And we've seen it here at this level, even with Cyphers today at 6'2", knocking down 2 threes. With Emma Burns at 5'7", also knocking down a pair. Anybody can be a shooter. 29-24. Heidelberg with just 7 on this possession here, as they've got to get a shot up here. Redtos kicks out. That's not going to get a shot off. Redtos has got to put that up, or Beamer, as the pass goes over to Smith, and she had no chance. all in all, Capital up by 5 here with 1:26 to play. And this wasn't really an impressive quarter of basketball at all, but to look here with 80 seconds left and being up by 5, if you can put together a couple of nice sequences here, you could technically go into the locker room with a double-digit lead. They aren't able to finish there with too good down low. But at the worst case, they should at least take a lead into the locker room here. Beamer driving baseline and has to throw it cross court. Retos almost walks, probably did. Gets it over to Kochel, who can't throw it in. Burns gets the miss. 2-for-1 opportunity for Capital, and they're out and running. There's Taphorn down the lane, and the layup is no good. Too good. Battling for the offensive rebound. Now Retos has it. Kochel is fouled by Taphorn. And that'll put Heidelberg at the free throw line, and Taphorn picks up her second foul, so Brewer will have to come in for her. Taphorn not happy with the call. It looked like she did knock the ball away at least, but that was all the way in the corner and very difficult to see. And now the referees have actually come together. And not quite sure what they're discussing here, but they've had the players clear the floor. And I'm pretty sure they can't just take that foul away. Whether or not it was the right call or not, you've got to stick with that. Coach Jeffers gets an explanation. We're not entirely sure what that was about, but it looks like the free throws will come for Kochel in the bonus. Kochel's first is no good. Kochel put in 4 points with 2 steals in the last weekend series against John Carroll. Gets one free throw here. 29-25 is our score. Brewer has it over to Burns. Burns switching courts now. Into the corner now, down low. Amert, and that looks like it hit off Amert's leg as she went to control the dribble. And now you look at it from a Heidelberg point of view, and they haven't played particularly well here in the second quarter either. They're shooting just 2 for 11 in the quarter, and on the game they're shooting under 30%, but they find themselves down by just 4. Capital has the possession arrow, so likely will start next with it, but a 2-pointer here called for Beamer, and that's going to make it a 2-point game as we head into the locker room. 29-27, a tale of 2 quarters, and we'll break it all down with the Capital University ROTC halftime show. What if you could take a college course that not only required textbooks, but courage, determination, and a good pair of boots? A course that would lead directly to a career as a leader, not an intern or an assistant. Are you ready to become a student and a leader? Then enroll in Capital University Army ROTC. You could get a full tuition scholarship, and you'll graduate a leader and an officer in the United States Army. To learn more about Army ROTC, call 614-236-6808 for more information. That number one more time is 614-236-6808. Or you can also visit capital.edu/ROTC to learn more information about Capital University Army ROTC. We'll be right back from the Capital Center.
Where will you live your purpose? Not in a refuge from the real world. The university anchored in the center of Ohio is at the epicenter of possibility, purpose, and the power of purple. There's no time for hesitation here. No need to put things neatly in their boxes. Just the need to nurture the role you were born for, no matter who you are. We believe that engagement is is as important as education. That curiosity is as important as the classroom. And when given the chance, we do more, not less. We live, learn, and lead with purpose. Just like the city that surrounds us. We're a coalition of the willing, an alliance of the ready, a union of the good. We're from Capital, and our purpose is purpose.
This is a message for all those MBA seekers out there. For the junior exec who'd rather be senior. For the VP yearning to be CEO. And for everyone who'd call their job not just a profession, but a passion. Capital University's MBA program was built exclusively for professionals, experienced faculty, flexible schedules, and classmates you'll soon consider colleagues. Learn more at capital.edu/MBA. The Capital University MBA, for those driven to do more.
Army ROTC is one of the best leadership courses in the country and can be a part of your college curriculum. As a potential or current student at Capital University, learning to become a leader will make your college experience even richer and prepare you for the future. Capital Army ROTC can provide scholarships and many more benefits to those who enroll, but the biggest benefit will be experienced firsthand after joining. For more information on Capital Army ROTC, testimonials, and an in-depth look at what the program can offer you, go to www.capital.edu/ROTC.
And welcome back to the Capital Center. Jimmy Bloomfield here with you and the Capital University ROTC halftime show. We will name our halftime hero here shortly, but first we are going to go through our OAC scoreboard. 3 other games in action across the conference. And let's go ahead and get to those scores. The first of which is kind of an upset in the making, potentially, as Marietta is leading Baldwin Wallace by a score of 30-17, a 13-point lead for Marietta. Baldwin Wallace is shooting just 5 of 28 from the field, 17% with 14 turnovers. And they find themselves in big trouble at home against Marietta. Another one that's an eye-popping score, Wilmington, all over Muskingum at this point. They lead by a count of 54-35, and they have 12 seconds left until the half in that Wilmington game. It's now 56-35. Wilmington is shooting 61% from the field. That's absurd. The Binkley twins have 17 points, and Zara Bailey also with 15 for Wilmington in that first half. Otterbein is also on top of Ohio Northern 35-26. Katie McCrary leads the way with 9 points for Otterbein, 7 points for Bryn Serban on the other side for Ohio Northern, as Otterbein is shooting 46% from 3 with 6 made 3-pointers in the first half there. Obviously our score here, Capital 29-27. When we come back, we will go through the halftime statistics and name our halftime hero. We'll be right back.
OSU Sports Medicine is a proud supporter of Crusader student athletes by providing sports health services for Capital University athletics and student health services. Through the work and care of team physicians and athletic trainers, it's the team behind your team. For all fans, if you're looking to improve your physical performance, recover from an injury, or stay active for a lifetime, the experts at Ohio State Sports Medicine are there for you. Visit sportsmedicine.osu.edu or call 366-4332.
It's the perfect sports bar because it's not just a sports bar.
I'm Gary Calico, founder and president of Rusty Bucket. A lot of families build their sports world around the bucket.
It's not just a guy's night out. You can bring your wife, you can bring your kids.
We get a lot of groups in after games.
Great place after the game.
Kids love to come here.
The Rusty Bucket Restaurant and Tavern.
The Rusty Bucket is a proud supporter of the Capital Crusaders. Visit us after the game at 2158 East Main Street and grab life by the bucket.
I wanted to fly. They said I couldn't. So I built a plane. then a spaceship, then I went to the moon. I invented jazz, hip-hop, rock and roll. Some called it noise. I said it was music. I wrote a letter and sent it by ponies. It didn't get to you fast enough, so I used trucks and ships. But still, they weren't fast enough for me. So I lost the paper and the ink. I sent it by magic. I called it email. I made up new words: jukebox, bling, Google. And I decided some old words weren't okay to say ever again. The mustache. I tried to bring that back 17 times. I wore knickerbockers and shoulder pads, poodle skirts and flannel. When I came back from World War II, all I had was a t-shirt. So I made that cool. In fact, I invented cool. Who am I? I'm the spirit of youth. It's my job to move the world forward. Pepsi. Every generation refreshes the world.
Capital University presents The Good Guarantee. The Good Guarantee promises families who work for nonprofits or in public service will never have to pay more than 50% tuition based on their total amount of financial aid. This includes your talent, merit, and need-based aid. You can live on campus or at home, it's renewable for up to 8 semesters, and you can study any major and minor. Current students can apply too. You qualify if you or your spouse or your parent or guardian work for a nonprofit or public service organization and you are a full-time undergrad. Because we want to create purposeful people, courageous community, and hopeful humanity. The world needs more good. The world needs you. You invest in others, we invest in you. For more information, visit capital.edu/good-guarantee.
And welcome back to the Capital Center. Capital leading 29-27. Let's get to our first half statistics. First individually for the Crusaders. Emma Burns leading the way with 8 points. And Brooke Amert and Kaylee Cyphers each with 6. Burns knocked down 2 3-pointers, and Cyphers knocked down 2 3-pointers. Outside of that, hasn't been a whole lot of scoring. Amert, I mentioned, with 6. Allison Roach has 4. Brewer with 2 and Linder with 3 to get to 29. On the other side, 6 points for Hannah Kilps leads the way still. 5 points for Kaylee Ratos off the bench. 4 points for Bailey Walter, 2 for Cheney, 3 for Kochel, 3 for Martin, and Beamer with 4. Rebounding leaders, and Walter and Cheney each have 4 on the other side. 4 for Demi Brewer, 3 for Amert and Linder. On the Capital side, who have only been out rebound 20-18, which given the size differential we're working with, it's probably not a statistic Capital's going to lead in much, but that's promising to see them competitive in the rebounding department. Each team had a lead of 5 points as their largest lead. Capital did have a 10-point scoring run that flipped the 5-point lead from Heidelberg into a 5-point lead for themselves and been pretty up and down ever since. Capital spent 15:46 of the first 20 minutes with a lead. Turnovers, both teams had quite a few there in the second quarter. Overall, Capital has 10, Heidelberg has 9. Heidelberg with 8 points off of those turnovers, Capital with just 6. Each team had 12 points in the paint, and the benches have been pretty competitive on both sides. 11 for Heidelberg, 8 for Capital. Shooting-wise, in the first half, overall for Capital, they're 10 for 28. That's 35%, 4 for 12 from 3. They shot 42% in the first and 28% in the second. 0 for 5 from the perimeter in the second quarter after starting 4 for 7. For Heidelberg, they were 7 for 17, 41% in the first quarter. And then they followed that up with 3 for 12 at 25% in the second quarter. But luckily for themselves, they were 2 for 2 from the free throw line in that frame. Overall, they are at 34% for the game, 1 for 5 from 3, 6 for 10 from the free throw line. Capital is at 5 for 6. Our halftime hero, I'm going to give it to Kaylee Cyphers off the bench with 6 points in 8 minutes off the bench. She also has a plus-minus of 9, which leads the team. And she was kind of the catalyst that started that 10-point run for Capital that flipped this game from a 5-point deficit to a 5-point lead. Keys to the third and fourth quarter here. I mean, the fitness aspect of this is now going to start to kick in. These teams have not played at all They haven't even practiced more than a few days this season. Heidelberg has played 2 games. Capital has played 0 before tonight. Which team can be out there longer with, the right amount of energy and burst? And you talk about a full court pressure from Heidelberg. Are they going to be able to keep that full court pressure up? And is Capital going to be able to keep up with it is really going to be the question. And which team takes care of the basketball here, I think, is going to be a big thing to look for here in the third quarter. I'm sure that was Coach Jeffers' main point of emphasis in the locker room. We are 3 minutes away from the second half tip-off, and that'll do it for our Capital University ROTC halftime show. When we come back, we'll have second half action from the Capital Center.
Army ROTC is one of the best leadership courses in the country and can be a part of your college curriculum. As a potential or current student at Capital University, learning to become a leader will make your college experience even richer and prepare you for the future. Capital Army ROTC can provide scholarships and many more benefits to those who enroll, but the biggest benefit will be experienced firsthand after joining. For more information on Capital Army ROTC, testimonials, and an in-depth look at what the program can offer you, go to www.capital.edu/ROTC.
This is a message for all those MBA seekers out there. For the junior exec who'd rather be senior. For the VP yearning to be CEO. And for everyone who'd call their job not just a profession, but a passion. Capital University's MBA program was built exclusively for professionals, experienced faculty, flexible schedules, and classmates you'll soon consider colleagues. Learn more at capital.edu/MBA. The Capital University MBA, for those driven to do more.
Where will you live your purpose? Not in a refuge from the real world. The university anchored in the center of Ohio is at the epicenter of possibility, purpose, and the power of purple. There's no time for hesitation here. No need to put things neatly in their boxes. Just the need to nurture the role you were born for, no matter who you are. We believe that engagement is as important as education, that curiosity is as important as the classroom. And when given the chance, we do more, not less. We live, learn, and lead with purpose. Just like the city that surrounds us. We're a coalition of the willing, an alliance of the ready, a union of the good. We're from Capital. And our purpose is purpose.
Game 1 of the home and home between Heidelberg and Capital has been a good one so far, 29-27. Capital out in front. I'm Jimmy Bloomfield. Thanks again for joining us once again here from the Capital Center. It's good to be back, and we are just excited to have some basketball action to bring you this season, and hopefully some more sports in the spring as well. Saw the men's lacrosse team out practicing earlier today as I was walking into the Capital Center. Might have some football this spring as well, and there is all kinds of different action that we can bring in the spring, and hopefully we'll be able to do so. But a good positive sign here tonight. Obviously we had the postponement of the first weekend, but we are here, we're playing basketball, and that's really all you can ask for sometimes. Capital has their starting 5 out there. That's Burns, Roach, Taphorn, Linder, and Almert. And Capital, as I mentioned, will start with possession here. Let's see if they can get something going. After a pretty sloppy second quarter from both teams, Taphorn out to Roach for 3. No good. And the rebound is collected by Brooke Beamer on the other side. Beamer pushing the tempo the other way now. Kilps has it, and Kilps pulls back and sets up the offense. Hannah Kilps was the leading scorer for Heidelberg in the first. Got there 2 points at a time with 3 baskets. Beamer on the right wing. And a basket good from Brooke Beamer, who is destined to turn this shooting percentage around. with the tough start to the season that she's had, field goal percentage-wise at 36% coming in her career, and she's at 19% on the season coming in, which is pretty crazy to see the fall off there in terms of efficiency. She averages 10.9 points per game over her career. Linder's shot no good. Brooke Amert trying to get her hands on that one, but was unable to. And it's pushed the other way by Heidelberg. Might have been a travel, but the official down in front of us says there was a bobble there from Cheney. And now Taphorn is fouled by Cheney, who again was just standing there. That's the second time Cheney's kind of just been in the wrong place at the wrong time. And the center from Heidelberg picks up her third foul, which will cause Kochel to come back into action. A minute and 11 into the second half, and already one of your bigs in foul trouble with 3. But Heidelberg has tied the game up. It's 29-29. Amert to Linder. Capital has some numbers, but Taphorn will slow down, set up the offense. Now Amert breaks inside, charge. Nope, sorry, block called against number 25, Bailey Walter, and I believe that's her second. So now Walter is one foul away from being in some serious trouble. And Omert goes to the line. First one is good. Omert knocks down both free throws. She now has 8 points. And now taken away by Taphorn. Taphorn looking for her first basket on the night. There it is. And quickly, Capital is back out in front, 33-29. There's that quick strike potential from this Capital offense. Beamer with a big answer. And as I mentioned, Brooke was due for kind of a breakout game of her own. And she is now starting to do that, filling up the stat sheet all over the place. 8 points, 3 rebounds, a steal. And all the shooting 50% from the field in this one. And they do not want Brooke Beamer to get going. She can really light it up on the other side. Burke comes out. And checking back in is Retos. She led the way for this team with 13 points per game against John Carroll in that sequence of the home and home. And they're kind of relying on her to be a difference maker this season. Linder's three-pointer no good. Amert forces a miss up on the offensive glass. Was a great rebound, but then kind of pushed the shot up. Now Retos blocked by Linder. Good closeout. And a foul is called. Is that on the shot? Nope, sorry. It is not on the shot. It's on Retos after the play. Now the officials are talking about it. That looked like a clean block. And the foul does go against Kaylee Retos. So, again, not sure what the conversation was there, but that's now Retos' second. Coach Jeffers is seeking a little bit of an explanation, and now both teams are stealing a timeout here. And actually, a timeout now taken by Heidelberg. What a weird sequence here over the last minute or so. Capital leading 33-31 now. It's going to be a quick 30 here. Each team with 4 points here in the third quarter to update you on the statistics for the last few minutes. And Capital will have possession here. After the foul against Retos, good block by Linder closing out on the three-pointer. Retos knocked down 4 threes in the first 2 games this season, 4 for 6 from outside, 10 of 18 from the field. No one else on the team is averaging more than 7 points per game in those first 2 games. She's kind of been the sole bit of offense, and I mentioned Brooke Beamer's struggles from the field as Allison Roach goes back to the free throw line where she has been very good. Roach is at 73% on the career. She's been on fire here in this one from the free throw line. Has not missed. And as I talk her up, she splits a pair here. Interesting to note, Bailey Walter picked up her third foul there, so you've got both starting front court players now for Heidelberg with 3 fouls. Pass inside, foul called. 2 shots coming as Kochel gets back to the line. Ummert picks up her second foul. Meanwhile, Martin checks back in for Heidelberg, and she'll go defend the basket on the other side rather than be on the offensive glass with Beamer. That's kind of interesting. But Beamer would be down there to set up the press, so that's why you keep Martin down in the backcourt here. First free throw from Kochel was good, and the second one is upcoming. Also good. 34-33. Kochel with 5 now off the bench for Heidelberg. Roach steps out for 3. No good. And Capital starting to go a little bit cold from outside in this one. They are now 4 for 15 from 3 after starting 4 for 7. I'm sorry, I believe they were 4 for 6. Definitely 4 for 7, though, in the first quarter. They've missed at least 8 in a row now. So go down to 26%. Yikes. On the left wing, Beamer switching back and forth with Red's House now on the left wing again. And she stepped back, throws one up at the buzzer. Are you kidding? It goes down. Brooke Beamer just throwing it up there, and she gets it to go down. That's her first three-pointer of the season. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. 36-34. Beamer is both lucky and good there with that last shot. Ummert to Roach at the free throw line. Nice reset there as Martin jumped off of Ummert, and Roach gives it right back, and Ummert has an easy basket to get into double figures. 36 all. Beamer with 11, Ummert with 10, the only 2 in double figures to this point. We are deadlocked in a tight one here in the middle of the third. Cypher's getting ready to check back in with Emma Burns. And Taphorn picks the pocket again. Taphorn the other way, and it looked like a weak attempt at a foul there from Red Toast, but really couldn't afford to foul. It's probably better that she didn't. And I mentioned Emma Burns getting ready to come back in. It's actually Erin Burns, number 3, who will probably check in for her sister who's out there on the floor. Beamer for 3, and she's eating up. That's 2 for her now from outside, 14 on the game. And Heidelberg is back in front for the first time since the first quarter, 39-38. Taphorn, Roach, timeout called by Coach Jeffers before the shot. We will see the collegiate debut for Erin Burns after this timeout. We'll be right back.
It's the perfect sports bar because it's not just a sports bar.
I'm Gary Calico, founder and president of Rusty Bucket. A lot of families build their sports world around the bucket.
It's not just a guy's night out. You can bring your wife, you can bring your kids.
We get a lot of groups in after games.
Great place after the game.
Kids love to come here.
The Rusty Bucket Restaurant and Tavern.
The Rusty Bucket is a proud supporter of the Capital Crusaders. Visit us after the game at 2158 East Main Street and grab life by the bucket.
Well, if you ask Coach Jeffers if she wanted to clone Emma Burns, she probably would say yes. And while she can't exactly do that, she does get the next best thing, which would be her younger sister, who's also 5'7", out of Westerville, Ohio, St. Francis de Sales High School. So this will be really interesting to see if Burns comes out with or without her sister. It looks like they're both going to be on the floor together, which would be presumably the first time since high school. And we'll see if she's as good as a shooter as well. Emma Burns finished as the 5th all-time leading scorer in high school at DeSales, and Erin did pretty good for herself as well her senior year and really exploded after Emma's departure, and now they play together again here at Capitol, which is pretty exciting for the Burns family. Emma has to throw one up here. It hits off back iron. Are they going to say that violated or not? They say that the shot clock violation goes off there. It looks like the shot got off in time to me, but I guess not. So Burns, I mentioned Emma Burns, the 5th leading scorer at the high school. Erin had a little bit of a different path, as the jump ball here is going to keep with the Berg. Erin had an injury in her junior year, which prevented her from playing. She did start as a sophomore and then was kind of the cornerstone her senior year. Rebound collected down low by Cyphers. I liked Cyphers' game a lot last year, and trying to see her progress here in year 2. 3-ball from Linder's no good. Nice tap out by Dogood. Now the Burns sisters on the outside. Inside Cyphers from Emma Burns. And Kaylee Cyphers might be having a breakout performance herself here. And we mentioned in the pregame, we talked about how Capitol would be shooting more threes, but now they're going right back to old school Capitol, right down low. And who's their 2 leading scorers to this point? None other than the 2 players playing in that post position of Cyphers and Amert. Now, Cyphers has done some damage from outside, but kind of interesting that when the going gets tough, you see Capitol go right back down to the basket for high percentage looks. A foul is called on Erica Linder away from the basketball. Thrown into the backcourt, and Emma Burns comes away with it. She's fouled. She's going to go to the free throw line. And Capitol will try to regain a little bit more control here. Caroline Taphorn will get ready to come back in as well. Taphorn replaces Linder. Kilps comes back on for the other side. Burns' first free throw is good. At her career here at Capitol, 78% from the free throw line. I mentioned earlier she made her 90th three-pointer in her career in this one. She also made number 91 with her 2 today. For Cyphers, on the other hand, just to kind of give you a difference, Cyphers made number 5 and 6 as Taphorn causes another turnover for Capitol here. Another takeaway, I should say. Turnover on the other side. And Capitol starting to defensively control this one here at the back part of the third quarter. Burns drives left. Kicks back out to Taphorn inside Cyphers. Cyphers through a double team, and it's enough to stop her. Kochel and Martin combine on the defense there as the front court starters for Heidelberg both in foul trouble with 3. Kilps comes around to screen from Martin, drives inside, scoop, layup, good. And Hannah Kilps with 8, with a chance to make it 9. She's been a contributor in her career here, but just struggled to shoot from outside. 4 for 25 in her career. She is a senior from outside, and she averaged 1 point a game in her career here, but has done a much better job, and like Beamer, kind of struggled against John Carroll from the field. 1 for 13, and she's on the right side of some positive regression here in this one. 4 for 6 from the field, and she has 9 points. Kilps gets the rebound and starts a breakout the other way. Heidelberg can take the lead, and they will. Basket is good from the freshman, Retzhaus. Hannah Kilps, by the way, with 9 points, has set a new career high. Burns on the outside gives it back to Taphorn. Taphorn drives in. Nice move to the basket. No good. Cyphers cleans it up. She's fouled. And Kaylee Cyphers will head to the free throw line. Cyphers to the line. She is, in her career, 9 for 22 from the free throw line. This was a struggle for her last year. Gives Capital the lead, though, 45-44. And Cyphers with 11. Reppert back in for Heidelberg. And we're also seeing Olivia Lemon for the first time, number 33. And again, testing some of that front court depth. There's Beamer now with it. We've been talking about Beamer being a scorer, and she's starting to heat up. She misses the shot here. We're talking about career highs for Hannah Kilps. She has one with 9. And Brooke Beamer has a career high of 30. Just to give you some context into how she can really get going. Heidelberg trying to hold serve here and get the lead back. 2:11 to play in the third quarter. Beamer, right wing. Reppert's going to let it fly from 3. No good. She looked very hesitant taking that one, and Cyphers just grabs it off the floor and gives it to Burns. 45-44. This is Emma. Aaron back to the bench as checking back in was Demi Brewer. Over to Taphorn. It was tipped by Kilps. Brooke Amert is posting up. She's got a mismatch down low. Cyphers finds her. Amert goes back out to Brewer. Brewer now drives in. Kick out to Burns. 5 seconds to shoot. Burns' shot is blocked, and it's recovered by Beamer. Good active defense there, that possession from Heidelberg. Lots of switching and recovering on the help defense. And they're able to get the ball back with a chance to take the lead once again. Maddie Overmeyer, a senior playing in her first minutes of this one, travels there. Taphorn on the right wing with it now. Taphorn brings it to the scorer's table and sets up a 1-4 low look. Basically in isolation for Taphorn, and now she'll get going. One-on-one against Kilps. Couple of step-back dribbles, now kicks out to Cyphers. Left it short. Amert had a hand on it, but couldn't grab it. Really good look out of that set, but Cyphers couldn't knock it down. Now Beamer gets around Taphorn, who couldn't foul, and Beamer beats her to get the basket. 46-45. Brooke Beamer heating up with 16. A huge third quarter from Beamer, who at half, I believe, had just 4. Double checking that, yeah, she had 4 points, so 10 points here in this quarter alone. And with that last basket now up to 12. And a foul is called against Burns. Are you serious? Nope, it's an illegal screen against Cyphers. That at least makes a little bit more sense. I thought they were calling Burns for a push-off there. 46-45. Heidelberg with the lead. And they might end the quarter with it as they have the last shot as well. Kilps fakes a handoff to Beamer, goes straight to the basket. Some contact, no foul called. Burns doesn't have enough on it to get it up the floor in time. But Heidelberg has to be pretty happy with the effort. They came into the quarter down 29-27. They take a 46-45 lead into the last 10 minutes here at the Capitol Center. We'll be back with the fourth quarter action.
Capital University presents The Good Guarantee. The Good Guarantee promises families who work for nonprofits or in public service will never have to pay more than 50% tuition based on their total amount of financial aid. This includes your talent, merit, and need-based aid. You can live on campus or at home. It's renewable for up to 8 semesters, and you can study any major and minor. Current students can apply too. You qualify if you or your spouse or your parent or guardian work for a nonprofit or public service organization and you are a full-time undergrad. Because we want to create purposeful people, courageous community, and hopeful humanity. The world needs more good. The world needs you. You invest in others, we invest in you. For more information, visit capital.edu/good-guarantee.
Well, let's see what the Crusaders have for us here in the last 10 minutes. Capital will start with Demi Brewer out there with Emma Burns, Brooke Amert, Kaylee Cyphers, and Caroline Taphorn, which I believe was the 5 Capital ended the quarter with. They get possession to start the quarter and a chance to take the lead back. Taphorn on left wing. Over to Cyphers now in the low block. Cyphers, no good. Brewer got a tip on it, but it's going to go the other way. Beamer has been the hot hand. 12 points in the third quarter, and she misses here. Fortunately, Brewer ties it up. Heidelberg will get possession on the arrow. But at least you always want that arrow in your possession here at the end of the game. So Capital does at least flip it early in the quarter. And you'd much rather tie it up when it's already on the Heidelberg side. So if you were to lose the possession, then with the arrow you keep it. Always better to keep possession than try to get into a turnover situation. So both teams kind of benefit from that. And a foul called against Cyphers. That's her second. Linder checks back in for Burns. Walter and Cheney are both out there for Heidelberg with 3 fouls. Keep that in mind here. First free throw is good. And the second one, no good. So it's back to an even lead now, 47-45. Capital hasn't made a three-pointer since the first quarter. They call a timeout here. It's going to be a quick 30-second timeout. We'll check on the OAC scoreboard while we have a second. And also, let's get an update on the Capital men's team, who split their first 2 games this season against Muskingum, a buzzer beater on the road to win 73-72 in their last time out against Muskingum. They lost the first game at home 58-55, but Keandre Graves with a buzzer-beating layup to complete the comeback for the Crusaders their last time out. And now they're in action against Heidelberg on the road. Charlie will be here tomorrow for the Heidelberg Capital game at 6 o'clock, a little bit earlier start on the Saturday edition of the Home and Homes. So that'll be a 5:45 pregame tomorrow. Heidelberg currently leading Capital 59-48 with 7:59 to play in the men's version of today's game. And we'll get to the OAC score update on the next timeout here at the Capital Center as Alpha miss. Cheney gets the rebound. And the other way go the Heidelberg Student Princes, who lead 47-45. Beamer almost loses it. Kilps throws it away, and now Taphorn comes away with it. Taphorn to the basket. Foul is called, and that's Cheney's 4th. That's big. So Taphorn will head to the free throw line with a chance to tie the game. Caroline in her career is 72%. 130 for 180. She averages 63 free throw attempts a year in her career. Knocks this one down. Immensely talented, been a very good defender throughout her career. Her offense kind of took off last season, did Tap Horn, as Caroline averaged 6.7 points per game with 4.4 assists per game and 3.7 rebounds per game her junior year. Was a big distributor, getting everybody involved last season, and now Capital, it feels like, has a bunch of point guards. 3-ball from Heidelberg, no good. Kaylee Ratos with the shot, no good. And now Brewer on the other side gets the layup. And Capital's quick strike right there. 4 quick points put them back in front, 49-47. And now a timeout is called, a full timeout from Capital. We'll take a brief timeout. We'll come back with some OAC scores. And we have 8:04 left to play here. Capital back in front, 49-47.
For all those MBA seekers out there, for the junior exec who'd rather be senior, for the VP yearning to be CEO, and for everyone who'd call their job not just a profession, but a passion. Capital University's MBA program was built exclusively for professionals, experienced faculty, flexible schedules, and classmates you'll soon consider colleagues. Learn more at capital.edu/MBA. The Capital University MBA, for those driven to do more.
As Miley Cyrus serenades us, we're back at the Capitol Center. Wilmington all over Muskingum, 81-56. 8 minutes to play in that one as well. Baldwin Wallace has climbed back, and they are now ahead 50-48. That one could come down to the wire against Marietta. With 7 minutes left to play there, and with 5 minutes left over in Westerville, Otterbein clobbering Ohio Northern 68-42. All these teams, again, will play tomorrow. 6 o'clock starts at the other site from the away team today. 49-47. Heidelberg trying to tie this thing back up. Beamer from the right elbow. No good. And Kaylee Cyphers grabs the rebound. Cyphers and Amert out there together. Just as I mentioned, Amert, she is not able to bring that one down as she was thinking about 2 points before securing the ball. 49-47 remains our score. And the Berg will try it again with 2 freshmen on the floor, both Retos and Clara Smith. Smith looking for Walter. Cyphers takes it away. They're going to call a foul against Walter, so that's her 4th. Cheney already has 4. So at decision time for head coach Rachel Ferry, if she will leave Walter out there with 4. It doesn't look like she will as Martin comes back in. Burns replaces Linder as well. So Alyssa Martin, the freshman, getting some extra minutes due to the foul trouble situation. Brewer quickly gets it to Burns for 3. Yes! That's the first 3-pointer for Capital since the first quarter. And it comes at a really good time to give them a 5-point lead. Emma Burns knocks down her 3rd triple. 13 points for Burns, now leads Capital in scoring. And a foul is called, meanwhile, defensively on Amert, I believe. Still waiting for the official word. There it is. Brooke Amert picks up her 3rd foul. No player for Capital in foul trouble outside of Amert with 3 now. Pass goes into Burke as Heidelberg ready to restart it already. Down low to Martin, poked away again by Cyphers. Beamer's there to collect the tap out, and she knocks it in. 3-point game. Heidelberg staying in it. After the 3-pointer from Burns, a quick answer on the 2-pointer from Beamer. 3-ball from Burns again, left short. Brewer saves it to Amert. Fantastic effort and a timeout called by Capital, and Coach Dixie Jeffers. Heads up play by Coach Jeffers there to help out as Brewer was in the storage closet there after saving that one. So a timeout called by Capital. They're now 5 of 18 for 3, so they had missed 10 consecutive three-pointers before Burns knocked that one down. That is huge. And Capital leads 52-49. 34% from the field, Capital shooting, 27 from 3. Heidelberg not much better, 38% and 27 from 3. Rebounds, 33 for Heidelberg, 30 for Capital. We've had 10 lead changes now in this game with 6 ties. Capital has led for 70% of the game and counting. Heidelberg did lead with 8:33 left to go in this one. Heidelberg then surrendered another scoring run to Capital. This is also an interesting statistic. Heidelberg has just 2 assists in this game. Capital has 11. 15 bench points for each team as well. That's crazy, just 2 assists. On the other side, Brooke Beamer with 18 points. Coming away with that loose ball, gives it over to Kilps. Left it short, Martin cleans it up. Capital leads by 1. Brewer will bring it across the timeline. She has played a lot of minutes off the bench in this one. We haven't seen a lot of Allison Roach here in the second half. She started the game, the other senior. Brewer under the basket. Scoop layup, no good. Cypher's trying to keep it alive, and Retos gets the miss. Retos has had to play big minutes with Kochel as well due to the foul trouble from the front court. Kilps inside to Martin. Martin has her dribble still, passes out instead, repost, loses the basketball, and Taphorn takes it away. Caroline starting the rush the other way. We'll throw it inside to Cyphers, who had time and a size advantage with Kilps, but rushed the shot up and couldn't get it to go. So we reset again the other way. By the way, for Taphorn, that's her 3rd steal already. Make it 4 as she gets the last bucket there, or the last takeaway for the Crusaders. Now a 3-pointer's missed. Taphorn gets the rebound. Under 5 to play. Taphorn loses it. Beamer cleans her pocket and misses on the other side. Gets her own miss. Puts it back up and it's good. Brooke Beamer getting too many chances. 20 points now for Brooke Beamer. 53-52. Heidelberg is out in front. Burns gets the screen from Amert. Now drives into the lane. Floater, no good. Kilps rebound. Heidelberg with a chance to extend their lead, and a foul is called against Amert. And Amert will head to the bench. Roach, Duguid, and Linder check back in. Walter and Cheney, meanwhile, re-enter for Heidelberg, each with 4 fouls. So they're going to let it ride out here the last 5 minutes. 4 and change, I guess you could say, with 4:13 to play. Cheney down low. Heidelberg leads by 3. They've led by as much as 5, but this is certainly the biggest lead they've had in the fourth quarter here. And they're playing really good basketball the last 3 or 4 minutes. Katie Burke, by the way, is back in for Capital as well. They've got a really young lineup out there. Linder for 3. No good. They needed that one. Linder, Burke, Roach, Duguid, and Burns, the 5 out there for Capital with just 3:40 left to play. Taphorn getting ready to come back in for Capital, I would imagine. Brooke Beamer on the left wing. Passing off to Cheney, who flattens. I believe that was Duguid who took the charge. And Cheney's night is done. That's her 5th. Cheney's done. And coming back in will be Kochel, I assume. Usually you can kind of steal a timeout out of this situation, but neither team appears to be interested in doing so. Kochel will check in. 55-52. Capital can tie it with a 3. Burns throws it away, trying to spin a pass into Dogood. Hannah Kilps now hops across half court. 3:15 to play. Can Heidelberg close out and give Rachel Ferry her first career victory on the other side? Walter over to Kilps, looking for Kolchel. Kolchel has it, squares up, basket, no good. Rebound, put back, Walters fouled by Burke. Amert and Cyphers and Maddie Reese and Taphorn getting ready to come in. Coach Jeffers, you know, normally you get to walk down the line and grab your players and tell them get out there, but with the socially distanced bench, we'll call it, she's wandering around trying to find her players to send out there. Kind of a comical moment. Capital right now has 6 people on the floor. Still working out some of the kinks. Burns, Roach, Taphorn, Cyphers, and Amert are out there. So it's the starting 5 with the exception of Cyphers in for Linder. And Cyphers has earned a spot out there to close this game out for sure with the way that she's played in this one. (56-52). Capital's got to turn it on here. 2:40 to play. Taphorn, Cyphers. Cyphers gets a free layup because Walter didn't want to foul out there, but I don't know if you just give up a free basket in a 4-point game, even if you have no fouls to give. Beamer, that's a big-time shot. The senior with the 3 ball, and Brooke Beamer matches Heidelberg's largest lead with 5. And she knocks down another triple, 23 points for Brooke Beamer. Emma Burns now drives baseline. She is fouled by Kolchel. That is the 4th team foul. So both teams will be in the bonus now from here on out. Linder checks in for Burns now. Linder gets it into Roach on the left wing, inside Cyphers. Cyphers, hook shot, no good. And the rebound collected by Walter. Full court pressure now from Roach and Taphorn. Kilps trying to break it herself, she will. And a screen there. Roach, that is a bad foul. And they might tee her up for that. They're talking about it. Roach got kind of hit a few times there by Walter and then just turned around and threw a shove at her. And actually, she's lucky that that was not called a technical. That had nothing to do with the play. Walter was just setting a screen, standing there. And then she did give a little bit extra in that screen for sure to Roach. You always get that second person, and Roach did shove her. Walter will get 2 free throws out of it. Bailey Walter, a 71% free throw shooter. In her career at Heidelberg, she knocks down both. Emma Burns is back in for Amert now. So you got a couple of shooters out there with Linder and Burns. Taphorn can knock down the occasional 3, and we've seen Cyphers step out as well. 61-54. Capital needs a run of ages here. Down by 7, but they have ball, and they have got a chance. They've got to get points this sequence, though. Double dribble against Brewer. Huge turnover. 1:41 to play. And Heidelberg is closing this game out nicely. Brewer trying to change the fortunes there. This is the largest scoring run of the game here for Heidelberg, and it's coming at the end of the game. Walter inside, no good. Cyphers tips it over to Burns. Capital with a huge stop defensively. 61-54, down by 7 still. Brewer, Cyphers can't handle it. Another turnover. Beamer has it. Gets it to Kilps. They break the press. 61-54. 1 minute to play. 20 seconds on the shot clock, and Heidelberg can take the air out of the basketball here. Capital's got to get some pressure going. Kilps to Beamer. Don't foul her. Beamer with the floater. No good. And Cyphers gets the miss. We've got to go. 45 seconds to play. Linder brings it down the floor. Brewer spotting up. Linder tried to get a foul. She loses it. Beamer the other way. Slows it down. Got a foul now, but they're not fouling. 32 seconds. There's only an 8-second differential in shot and game clock. Taphorn takes it away from Beamer and now gives it to Burns. What a steal from Caroline. Burns misses the layup. 18 seconds to play. It's all over now. Heidelberg is going to come in to Bexley and get the win. 61-54. Beamer finishes it out, dribbles it over to Kilps, who had a career high in this one. But Brooke Beamer, the story. And in the last 2 minutes, Capital had a missed layup and 3 turnovers with no points. And Heidelberg closes this game out on a beautiful scoring run to finish it at 61-54. We'll take a timeout, and when we come back, we will wrap things up here from the Capital Center with the Rusty Bucket postgame show. We'll be right back.
Sports Bar, because it's not just a sports bar.
I'm Gary Calico, founder and president of Rusty Bucket. A lot of families build their sports world around the bucket.
It's not just a guy's night out. You can bring your wife, you can bring your kids.
We get a lot of groups in after games.
Great place after the game.
Kids love to come here.
The Rusty Bucket Restaurant and Tavern.
The Rusty Bucket is a proud supporter of the Capital Crusaders. Visit us after the game at 2158 East Main Street and grab life by the bucket.
Capital University presents The Good Guarantee. The Good Guarantee promises families who work for nonprofits or in public service will never have to pay more than 50% tuition based on their total amount of financial aid. This includes your talent, merit, and need-based aid. You can live on campus or at home, it's renewable for up to 8 semesters, and you can study any major and minor. Current students can apply too. You qualify if you or your spouse or your parent or guardian work for a nonprofit or public service organization and you are a full-time undergrad. Because we want to create purposeful people, courageous community, and hopeful humanity. The world needs more good. The world needs you. You invest in others, we invest in you. For more information, visit capital.edu/good-guarantee.
Well, we had a basketball game here tonight, and that's more we could say in the last year or so here in a crazy last year for the calendar here. And Capital, unfortunately, not able to pull the win out in their first one back since the COVID pandemic shut down pretty much all of sports for a portion of time here. And unfortunately for the Crusaders, they come up short 61-54. A 14-2 run from Heidelberg to finish this one. In the last 7 minutes and 21 seconds, Capital led by 5. And in that stretch, Heidelberg outscored Capital again by a count of 14-2 from 7:05 in the fourth to 1:55 remaining in the quarter. And Capital didn't score at all through the rest of the stretch. So they had 1 basket made in the last 7:21 on 9 shot attempts with 4 turnovers. And, again, just 2 points. That's not how you close out games. Capital will have to work on that, obviously. And this is tough. It's tough coming back and playing in your first game in a while. Heidelberg did get 2 games in over the weekend, so they had a little bit of some rust kicked off already. Capital not so much. And it showed definitely in parts of that second quarter, parts of the fourth quarter, and in parts of the third quarter as well. So for Capital – and for Heidelberg, they obviously made some adjustments from their matchup against John Carroll and were able to get a victory under the belt of their new head coach, Rachel Ferry. These two teams will match up again tomorrow, and that'll be at Heidelberg. Let's get our final scores across the OAC and update some standings for you. First, over in the Wilmington game, they defeated Muskingum 96-81, so Wilmington is now 2-1 on the season. Muskingum also starts their season at 0-1. Otterbein all over Ohio Northern in this one. So Ohio Northern drops to 1-2. Otterbein moves to 2-1. Marietta and Baldwin Wallace. We've been watching this one. The defending OAC champion, Baldwin Wallace, who were 2-0 at the end of the last weekend here. They have the ball left with 2 seconds and a chance to win the game. It looks like they missed a three-pointer at the buzzer. So they're going to overtime with Marietta if you want to catch out some action after the end of this game here. It'll be very interesting to see how that one shakes down. And then, obviously, those teams will do battle again tomorrow as well. The men's team was in action against Heidelberg earlier today in Tiffin, Ohio, where the women will be tomorrow. And Heidelberg beat Capital 83-56. So not a lot of happy results to share. Griffin Dosek did have 17 for Capital in the losing effort. So Capital, again, coming up short, 61-54, your final score here. Capital's player of the game. We're going to give it to Emma Burns, who knocked down her 90th career three-point shot for Capital in this game. She led the way with 13 points and also played in 38 minutes. She had 4 rebounds, assist, a steal, and a block as well in this one. Before we leave you, we'd like to give one more thank you to all of our sponsors who support the broadcast. First, the Byers Airport Subaru, who brought today's pregame show. The Army ROTC, which brought you the halftime show. And the Rusty Bucket, the sponsor of today's postgame show. We'd also like to thank Pepsi, Dill's Greenhouse, and the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center. That'll do it from the Capital Center. We will be back tomorrow night with the men's game against Heidelberg. That will be a 5:45 pregame show, 6 o'clock tip here at the Capital Center. And our next women's broadcast will be on Saturday, February 6th, when Wilmington is in town for Game 2 of that home-and-home sequence here at the Capital Center. Other than that, we wish you a good night. We were glad to be able to bring you some basketball action on the women's side finally here. It's been too long, and hopefully we will bring you a win the next time here at the Capital Center. I'm Jimmy Bloomfield. Thanks, everyone out there, and have a great rest of your night and great weekend.